person who killed the foreign minister was somebody very important.
It was the government itself.
It was the president himself?
I can't say the president.
I apologize.
But the government killed the minister.
It was someone in the administration who was very important.
Some people in the administration.
Yes, okay, very good.
Yes.
Okay, and then you would not agree to cover it up?
I couldn't agree to alter the voices of people on the tapes because we had wiretapped some of these people and we knew exactly what was going on. So when they asked me to alter the tapes, I couldn't do that. And then that's when trouble started and I was put in jail and tortured. You were
put in jail in Kenya and tortured?
Tortured,
What kind of torture did they use?
Well, they blindfolded me, took me to the morgue in Nairobi City mortuary, left me there to die, and that's why I have serious asthma with me because of the chemicals I inhaled while I was at the morgue. They immersed me in water, they beat me, and they also used torture.
Cattle prod? Electric?
Yes, to shock me.
Electric shock?
Yes, and they now took me to one of the military hospitals, the Armed Forces Military Hospital in Nairobi, where I think they had planned that I was going to be eliminated, but the officers on duty, the doctor on duty who was a major in the army, who was also a doctor at the same time, learned of it, and because there was a lot of noise from the American ambassador, the then American ambassador, the late Smith Hempston, he asked them where I was, and then that's when I was released just for an appearance, and he arranged for my departure from the country.
So the American ambassador?
The American ambassador
helped you get out of Kenya alive?
He helped me to get out, and I thank the American people so much, and that was the administration of George Bush Sr. George Bush Sr. actually.
George Bush the Greater, yeah.
Yes, he's one of the best people that I'm willing to see him one of these days if I can get the opportunity. He saved my life.
You better do it quick, he's aging.
Yeah, he saved the lives of many Kenyans actually. And also he.
So now did you leave Kenya and come to the United States, or where did you go from Kenya?
I went to Britain.
You went to Britain?
Yes.
Okay, and Britain granted you asylum?
They granted me asylum.
And then they decided that they needed to hide you to avoid somebody coming after you and killing you because you knew who killed the foreign minister in Kenya?
Yes, in fact, the British newspapers flashed out my story, the Sunday Times headlines, and when I mentioned whoever killed the minister, the then government went and filed a libel case against the Sunday Times, which does not allow me to speak until today. But then my life became in danger, and the British security system put me in a hostel.
A rehab facility?
Yes.
For people who are alcoholics and drug addicts?
Yes.
And they were primarily Irish or all Irish?
They were all Irish.
All Irish?
Yes, in Arlington House in Camden Town. I think it's a very
Arlington
famous
house. Arlington House in Camden?
Camden in London.
Okay.
Then that's when I came to learn.
Now, were these also people who were fighting for Irish independence, or they just happened to tell you about the story?
They happened to tell me, but actually they were fighting for the Irish freedom.
Were they all Sinn Féin members?
Most of them were Sinn Féin, and most of the majority were sympathizers with the Irish cause, and they really motivated me to change my stance, and I loved what I heard from them. I loved how they were doing it, though I cannot agree with the bombing of the British people, what have you, but they inspired me. They inspired me, and they injected me. They make me realize the meaning of the word freedom.
Well, there hasn't been bombing in a long time, so we're pleased that things have settled down over there.
Yes.
But that's kind of interesting. You're born and raised in Kenya.
Yes.
And then you become a policeman there. You discover that the foreign minister has been killed.
Yes.
They ask you to investigate. You find out that it's somebody high up in the administration.
Yes.
I didn't say high up.
Yes.
And then you are granted asylum in England, and yet you spend a lot of time with Irish. You develop an affinity for Irish independence. You become sympathetic towards Sinn Féin, and then you ended up getting a job. Someone who was Irish got you a job as a gravedigger.
Yes, and those are the jobs that were done by Irish people. And the reason why I became a gravedigger was not because I wanted to dig people's grave. That's an abomination in Kenya. But it was because of the Irish cause.
It's an abomination?
Abomination.
So you have to dig somebody's grave?
Yes, unless that person is a member of your family.
Really?
Yes,
oh,
yes.
That's interesting.
Yes, being attached to the dead is something very serious culturally in my country.
An abomination.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when...
What if you don't have any relatives? Who digs your grave?
Well, then the city officials will either bury you or somebody else. But then even if they bury you, even if the tribe buries you, there are a lot of traditions, cleansing ceremonies to accompany that so that they can exorcise the evil spirit to go elsewhere.
So for those who are just joining us, we're talking with Dr. George Wajackoyah,
yes.
who is a candidate for president in Kenya.
Yes.
So now you're in England, but you're working for an Irish guy digging graves.
Yes.
And you decide that you're going to go to law school.
Yes, and he actually encouraged me to go to study law. So he took...
And so you did what a lot of Americans do.
Yes.
And that is